Hi, I'm Patrick Reagan. Welcome to the TCP/IP Part 4, Ports, Protocols, and Services Part B. This video continues the last video by discussing additional common protocols including SMB, FTP, SFTP, Trivial FTP, Time Protocols, SNMP, SysLog, LDAP, SQL Server, and SIP. NetBIOS over TCP/IP, or NBT, is a networking protocol that allows legacy computer applications relying on the NetBIOS API to be used on modern TCP/IP networks. NetBIOS provides three distinct services including name service for name registration and resolution, datagram distribution service for connectionless communications, and session service for connection-oriented communications. While its prevalence has decreased with the rise of DNS and SMB, it is still used in Microsoft Windows when DNS is unavailable and in file and print sharing in some networks. Server Message Block, or SMB, is a communication protocol that provides access to shared files and printers. Resources are accessed via Universal Naming Convention, or UNC path, also known as Uniform Naming Convention, in the format of // server name / share name. SMB operates on a client-server model where clients request access to resources on the server and the server grants or denies access. Today, SMB uses TCP port 445. Older versions of Windows and some Unix systems also use port 139 for SMB traffic over NetBIOS, which runs over TCP/IP. SMB is widely used network protocol, not just within Microsoft Windows, but also on other operating systems like Mac OS, Linux, and Android. It's popular outside of Windows stems from the open source Samba implementation, which allows non-Windows systems to interoperate with Windows and other SMB servers. Besides file sharing, SMB is used for printer sharing, accessing other devices like scanners and fax machines, enabling network browsing, facilitating inter-process communications, and allowing client applications to communicate with servers. Current versions of SMB include SMB 1.0, which was the original version, which is legacy and deprecated due to major security vulnerabilities. SMB 2.0 and 2.1 were introduced in Windows Vista and Server 2008, which improved performance and security. SMB 3, introduced in Windows 8 and Server 2012, added encryption and better performance and resiliency. Common Internet File System, or CIFS, was a specific implementation of SMB 1.0 that extended SMB with additional features but became known for being chatty and inefficient, especially over slow links. Both SMB 1 and CIFS are now considered obsolete and insecure. Disable SMB 1.0 and CIFS on modern systems to avoid vulnerabilities. File Transfer Protocol, or FTP, is a standard communication protocol used for the transfer of computer files from a server to a client on a computer network that uses TCP port 21 for control and port TCP 20 for data transfer. Remember, if you're transferring files and you want files to be copied over properly, you want to use TCP. Unfortunately, the data and username and password are unencrypted or sent in clear text. Therefore, it is considered insecure. FTP has been largely replaced by SFTP, SSH, and HTTPS. Secure File Transfer Protocol, or SFTP, is a network protocol that allows for secure and encrypted file transfers between a client and a server. It uses SSH to access, transfer, and manage large files and sensitive data. TCP port uses 22, the same port as SSH. Remember, SS is like 22, which helps remember SSH uses port 22. File Transfer Protocol Secure, or FTPS, is an extension to the commonly used File Transfer Protocol, which adds support for the Transport Layer Security, or TLS, and formerly the Secure Sockets Layer, or SSL. Since HTTPS uses SSL, or TLS, think of FTPS uses SSL TLS. FTPS typically uses port 990 for control connections and port 989 for data connections under implicit security. However, FTPS can also use port 21 when operating under explicit security. Remember, HTTPS uses SSL as well as FTPS. SFTP uses the other security protocol, SSH. Trivial File Transfer Protocol, or TFTP, is a basic file transfer function with no user authentication. It uses UDP69, so it does not use acknowledgments. It is faster than FTP. It only used within a stable, protected internal network. It is often used by network devices to back up their configuration. A directory service is a centralized database that stores and manages information about users, devices, and other network resources. It acts as a network phone book, providing a structured way to locate and access this information. This information can include usernames, passwords, user preferences, device details, and access permissions. Lightweight Directory Access Protocol, or LDAP, is an open and widely used protocol for accessing and managing directory services. LDAP provides a standardized and efficient way to access and manage directory information, making it a fundamental component of many network applications and systems. It's an organized set of records like a phone directory. It is specifically designed for querying and modifying directory information over a network. LDAP is used in Windows Active Directory, Apple Open Directory, Novell eDirectory, and several others. LDAP supports various operations for querying and modifying directory information, including search, which retrieves directory entries based on specified criteria, for adding new directory entries, modifying existing directory entries, deleting directory entries, and authenticating and establishing a connection to the LDAP server. LDAP operates over TCP/IP and uses a simple textual format for communications. It typically runs on port 389 or port 636 for LDAP over SSL/TLS. LDAP supports authentication and secure communications using mechanisms like Simple Authentication and Security Layer, or SASL, and LDAP over SSL/TLS. Active Directory is a technology created by Microsoft that provides a variety of network services to provide a central location for network administration and delegation of authority. It includes LDAP for querying and modifying data using directory services running over TCP/IP, Kerberos-based authentication, which allows hosts to prove their entity over a non-secure network in a secure manner, as well as providing single sign-on authentication, and directory services to organize and name all of your network resources, including users, groups, printers, computers, and other objects, and to manage passwords. Along with authentication, Active Directory is a major component when discussing authorization. Directory services based on DNS-based naming. The Active Directory services and database run on domain controllers. It is essential for various network applications, including timestamping, security, and logging, to maintain accurate and consistent time across different systems. System time is important because time-sensitive systems and applications will not work correctly, and security mechanisms will fail. Kerberos requires the client and server clocks to be synchronized, typically within 5 minutes, or the login attempts will fail. Time-based one-time passwords, like those used by Google authenticators, requires accurate time, which won't validate if the system clock is off. DNS security extensions validate signatures using timestamps, which DNS lookups may fail when the system clock is wrong. Version control systems such as Git and backup software may behave incorrectly if file timestamps are out of sync. Scheduled tasks may run at the wrong times or not at all. Log entries with incorrect time hinder incident response, forensic analysis, and auditing. File sync conflicts may occur due to time discrepancies, and incorrect timestamps can cause email message rejection or misordering due to SPF, DKIM, and DMARC checks. Network Time Protocol, or NTP, is an internet protocol used to synchronize with computer clock sources in a network. It belongs to and is one of the oldest parts of the TCP/IP suite. The term NTP applies to both the protocol and the client-server programs that run on computers. NTP servers are organized into a hierarchy known as strata. Stratum 1 servers are the most accurate and are typically connected directly to a highly accurate reference time source, such as the atomic clock. Stratum 2 servers are connected to Stratum 1 servers and are slightly less accurate than Stratum 1 servers. Stratum 3 servers are connected to Stratum 2 servers and are slightly less accurate than Stratum 2 servers, and so on. Windows uses NTP by default to synchronize time, and NTP uses TCP port 123. The Precision Time Protocol, or PTP, is a network protocol defined by the IEEE 1588 standard designed for the precise synchronization of clocks within distributed systems, particularly in local area networks. PTP is commonly used in industries requiring highly accurate timekeeping, such as telecommunications, financial services, broadcasting, and industrial automation. Key features include high precision, where PTP can achieve sub-microsecond synchronization, which is much more accurate than traditional protocols like NTP. Master-slave architecture, where PTP operates using a hierarchy system where a master clock, often a GPS-synchronized device, distributes timing information to multiple slave clocks. Timestamping is an accurate timestamping occurs at the hardware level to reduce jitter and latency, contributing to high precision. And delay measurement is where PTP measures network delays between devices to adjust the timing accordingly. PTP is vulnerable to certain attacks, such as message manipulation and delay attacks. Therefore, secure implementations, possibly with encryption, are critical for applications involving sensitive data. Network Time Security, or NTS, is a cryptographic protocol extension for Network Time Protocol designed to enhance its security. It protects against various security threats such as spoofing and man-in-the-middle attacks, which could lead to time synchronization manipulation. Key features of NTS include mutual authentication, which ensures that the NTP clients and servers can authenticate each other using secure keys. Data integrity protection, where NTS secures NTP packets, making sure the timing information cannot be tampered with during transmission. And encryption, where optionally confidential protection can be applied to prevent eavesdropping on timing information. This could include the use of TLS, where NTLS leverages TLS during the initial key exchange. Simple Network Management Protocol, or SNMP, is an Internet Standard Protocol for collecting and organizing information about managed devices on IP networks and for modifying that information to change device behavior. SNMP is widely used in network management for network monitoring. The SNMP agent receives requests on UDP port 161, and the manager receives notifications, traps, and inform requests on port 162. A community string acts as a password to group data into either read-only or read-write areas. The default read-only community string is often public, while the read-write string is commonly set to private. SMTP versions include version 1, which was the original standard that sends data in clear text, and version 2 is the improved version that supports data type enhancements like bulk transfers in clear text. However, version 3 is the secure standard that supports message integrity, authentication, and encryption. Rather than using the community string, version 3 uses user-based security model, which provides a framework for managing security settings and user authentication, allowing for different security levels. SysLog Protocol, or SysLog, is a widely used protocol for logging and transmitting log messages, allowing devices and systems to send event data to a central location for analysis and monitoring. It's a standardized format, meaning messages follow a consistent structure, which makes them easier to parse and interpret by humans and machines. SysLog on servers collect and store log messages from various sources, allowing for easy access and analysis. SysLog uses port UDP 514. Remember, SNMP is a poll-based system, meaning it collects information at set intervals which is useful for gathering specific metrics like device performance. SNMP equals tell me your status, and optionally tell me when something bad happens. SysLog uses a push-based system where devices send log entries in real time, offering a more continuous stream of information. SysLog equals here's what just happened. Microsoft Structured Query Language, or SQL Server, is a relational database management system designed for enterprise environments. SQL is a standardized programming language that allows users to manage, extract, organize, and manipulate data in relational databases. It's especially useful for structured data, which is data that includes relations between entities and variables. SQL queries use TCP port 1433. Session Initiation Protocol, or SIP, is a set of online standards that allows devices to communicate in real time, such as through voice, video, and messaging. SIP is the foundation of Voice over Internet Protocol, or VoIP, which is internet-based phone service. SIP phones are internet technology to make calls, and SIP works with bidirectional communication where one device sends a request and the other responds. SIP can also be used for video conferencing, instant messaging, and media distribution. The DNS service record is used to define where SIP is found by specifying the host name and port number of the server that provides the SIP service. Question: which of the following protocols should be disallowed so that only encrypted protocols are allowed? Choose two answers. Answers: 23 and 69. Port 23 is used by Telnet, and port 69 is used by Trivial FTP, which sends logins or data in non-encrypted format. Question: what protocol would you use to receive an email alert for a power supply that is powered down? Answer: SNMP. Question: which of the following is needed to create an accurate timeline during a troubleshooting process? Answer: NTP. Question: when you're configuring your time and you need the most accurate time, which NTP device should you use? Answer: Stratum 1. Question: you're supporting a factory automation solution that requires accurate timing between devices. Which of the following should you implement? Answer: PDP. Question: what protocol does Active Directory use to provide directory services? Answer: LDAP. Question: what port does Active Directory use? Answer: 389. Question: You're having problems with a VoIP application that is experiencing jitter and high latency. What can help you determine the cause of the problem? Answer: configure SNMP traps on the network. Question: what protocol is used with Microsoft shared folders / server name / share name? Answer: SMB. Question: what is / server name / share name? Answer: UNC. Question: which protocol does FTPS use to encrypt the file transfer? Answer: SSL. Remember, HTTPS uses SSL, and so does FTPS. Question: which protocol does SFTP use to encrypt the file transfer? Answer: SSH. Remember, HTTPS uses SSL, and so does FTPS. SFTP is the opposite, which uses SSH. For more information, visit these sites. In summary, Server Message Block, or SMB, is a communication protocol that provides access to shared files and printers. Resources are accessed via Universal Naming Convention, or UNC path, also known as Uniform Naming Convention, in the format of / server name / share name. File Transfer Protocol, or FTP, is a standard communication protocol used for the transfer of computer files from a server to a client on a computer network that uses TCP port 21 for control and port TCP 20 for data transfer. Secure File Transfer Protocol, or SFTP, is a network protocol that allows for secure and encrypted file transfers between a client and a server. File Transfer Protocol Secure, or FTPS, is an extension to the commonly used File Transfer Protocol that adds support for the Transport Layer Security, formerly the Secure Sockets Layer, or SSL. Since HTTPS uses SSL or TLS, think of FTPS uses SSL TLS. Lightweight Directory Access Protocol, or LDAP, is an open and widely used protocol for accessing and managing directory services. Network Time Protocol, or NTP, is an internet protocol used to synchronize with computer clock time sources in the network. Simple Network Management Protocol, or SNMP, is an internet standard protocol for collecting and organizing information about managed devices on IP networks and for modifying that information to change device behavior. System Login Protocol, or SysLog, is a widely used protocol for logging and transmitting log messages, allowing devices and systems to send event data to a central location for analysis and monitoring. Thank you for watching this video. The next video will be TCP/IP Part 5 Internet Protocol Types. If you have not already, subscribe to the Pat Has Your Back channel. Thank you.